Hello there, my name is Andrew Michael and I'm with the Coastal Haven Group, brokered by Real Broker. And let me guess, you're considering retiring and moving to the Sunshine State, i.e. Florida. And why shouldn't you? We offer low taxes, we're close to the beach, all kinds of great things to do. And of course, here in Jacksonville, we're only 2 hours away from Disney World. Well, in this video, we are going to unpack adult communities, i.e. 55 plus. What are the pros and cons? What comes with? Is it worth it? Is it a good lifestyle choice for you? I obviously can't answer if it's a good choice for you or not, but we do help several of our buyers and sellers in these communities every year. And so we're going to break it down for you so you can make an informed decision for yourself. And we're going to do that right now. So first up is, what are the advantages to a 55 plus community and why do people move into them? Well, the answer is, it depends on the community. So right now I'm at a new listing in Del Webb, E-Town. Del Webb, if you're not familiar with it, is a Pulte brand. Pulte is a big national builder. I believe Centex is also part of the same company. And if you see the label Del Webb, what it means is that Pulte built a home and that it is one of their communities that they advertise it as a cruise ship on land. What does that mean? They have a lifestyle director, they have a gym, they have some of them have gardening centers. Anything you could want to do is right here within the gated community. Now, not all 55 plus or active adults have that. For instance, we also have another listing down in a neighborhood called San Salido, but in the Freedom Home section. So San Salido itself is an unincorporated St. Augustine, and it's a great little community, all ages community. But there's one little gated area off the, on the east side of the community that's actually only for 55 plus. And we're going to talk about what that means in a little bit. But that neighborhood doesn't necessarily offer the cruise ship on land, experience that the Del Webbs offer. It is 55 plus. They do have their own pool. They do have a gym that the larger community shares, but they don't offer as much of the amenities. However, they also don't charge as much. That's something else you have to consider. Advantages to an adult community usually, although not always, they'll take care of lawn maintenance. It's included in the fees. And you only have other residents who do not have small children living in the house. Some of them offer all the amenities and the things to do. Some of them do not. It just depends on the community, but that's the advantage to it. I've had some buyers over the years who are in that demographic, meaning 55 plus, but they decided to move into, we'll call it an all ages community, only to call me a few years later and want to move into a 55 plus. Why? Well, there's tons of teenagers everywhere and there's really nothing for them to do during the workday. Why is that? Well, like in my community where I live, you know, I'm 47 years old. Most of the people in my community are 30s and 40s, and we're all raising kids. Well, if you're retired and you want to go do something on a Tuesday, I'm not going to be able to do it with you because I'm working. You know, most people in our neighborhood are working, or like I said, raising kids. So that's why some of them have moved. They decided that they wanted to go to a community where other people were retired and they can get together. And a lot of times they'll have special interest clubs. So like there's a wine club, there's a traveling club, there's pickleball, that's a big one. There's all these different clubs, whatever your interest is. Most of these communities offer that, and so that's a plus. Now, one thing before I move on to the next topic, I do often hear from people saying when they're moving down, and it doesn't matter to us, we are not exclusively in 55 communities, 55 plus. In fact, the majority of homes we sell are not. But I have heard many people who were considering it want to rule it out because, you know, they tell me that, well, you know, I don't have time for that stuff. Well, okay, but you have to, and that's fine. You know, we're not pushing you in any direction. You can buy whatever you want. But one thing to consider is if you're going to retire, well, then your lifestyle is about to change. So if you're working like, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 hours a week where you're at now, and you're going to retire when you come down here, well, okay, you may not have time to play pickleball and do all that other stuff now, but you will when you come here and you make that transition, if that makes sense. So that's just one thing to consider. Another question that I often get with 55 plus community are, what are the rules? Okay, So my mother-in-law actually lives in a 55 plus community. She lives in Del Webb, Ponte Vedra, which is the oldest 55 plus community inside of Nocatee. Now Nocatee has, I believe, around 50 communities. 3 of them are 55 plus. And in her community, my children oftentimes will spend the night there. In fact, they may spend a couple of days there, and that's totally fine. What you cannot have is someone who, you can't have children living there, residing there. So what a 55 plus community requires is one person, that usually you have a couple buying a home, meaning 2 people living together buying the home. Sometimes it's a single person, that's fine too. But in that unit, one person has to be at least 55 years of age. So if you have a couple where one person's, let's say, 56 and the other person's 48, that's fine. Just one person has to be 55. Also, children can visit, children can spend the night, but most of the 55 plus communities will have a rule as for how long they can stay there. They'll also have rules on whether they can use the amenities or not. So for instance, my mother-in-law's community in Del Webb, Ponte Vedra, there are certain times that she can bring our kids to their amenities, but she wouldn't want to. And the reason is Nocatee has, which is, as you know, is a master plan community with all ages. So with the 55 plus, with the rules, with my children, she could take them to their amenities, to her amenity center, but it wouldn't make sense because she also has access to the Nocatee amenities. And so when my kids are there and she wants to take them to the splash park or the spray park or something like that, well, then she just takes them over there. She doesn't take them to the Del Webb amenities. But not all 55 plus communities offer that. For instance, where we're standing right now in Del Webb E-Town, the residents of Del Webb E-Town do not have access to Recharge, which is the amenity center for E-Town. So if my mother-in-law lived here and she had the kids, she could not take them over to Recharge. So you have to check in that and see. Another one is Silverleaf. There is a 55 plus community, Reverie. Reverie is the 55 plus brand for Dreamfinders homes, which is another big builder. And if you were to purchase one of their homes in Silverleaf, you would not have access to the regular Silverleaf amenities, only the Reverie amenities. However, if you purchased a home in Reverie Trailmark, then you would have access to the Trailmark amenities. So it just depends on the community. As far as the specific rules for each HOA, and whenever we work with buyers and sellers of all ages, if you're serious about a community, you want to look in a community, whether it's 55 plus or not, if you're working with us, we would be more than happy to get you the HOA bylaws so you can review those and make sure that the home is a lifestyle that you're looking for before we even see the house, if that's what you want to do. Next up is, what does it cost to live in a 55 plus community? That's a great question. So it depends on the community. So where we're standing right now, there's 2 fees. You have a monthly fee, which is $269 a month. Where we're standing right now is a $269 a month fee. So what do you get for that? It's a gated community. You get your lawn care provided. So that's the things you get. And remember, whenever you have a gated community, the road is going to be private and it's going to have to be maintained by the residents. If the public is not able to drive on your road, then the public isn't responsible for maintaining it. That's, as a general rule of thumb, that's kind of how it works. So you have $269 per month, but then you also have something called a CDD, or Community Development District fee. This community has that. So if you look on the chart that you see, you'll see 40s, 50s, and 60s, and in different names for the types of homes. What that means is a CDD, or Community Development District fee, is an extra fee that gets added to each lot in the home. It consists of 2 parts. The first part is the bond, or the debt. The second part is the O&M, or the operational maintenance. Now, what it depends on is the community you're in and the width of your lot. The depth doesn't matter, just the width. So a 40-foot wide lot would have a CDD fee of X, a 50-foot wide lot would have a CDD fee of Y, and you can see. And it doesn't matter if it's like 52 feet or something like that. It's just a 50-foot product, 40-foot product, that kind of thing. So this community has CDD fees, and that pays for all of the other stuff that comes with. And that's where you get, you know, the pool, the fitness center, the amenity center, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. Not all active adult communities have that though. They'll probably have an HOA fee, at least in our area, but they may or may not have a CDD fee. It just depends. So yeah, so that's what the fees, the short answer is the fees vary. And I hate to go into them too much on this video because if you watch it a year from now, everything I'm saying is true. But if I give you the exact dollar amount, it won't be. So definitely reach out to us, you know, or something like that, and you can see what the fees currently are. But those are the two types of fees that you're going to encounter in master plan communities, and specifically communities that cater to the 55 plus crowd. Next up is, what is the 80-20 rule? Now, I'm not talking about Wilfredo Pareto's 80-20 rule for productivity. Well, he used it for other things, but we use it in sales for productivity. And what we mean by it is, you know, 80% of your results come from 20% of your activities. That's not what this is. What the 80-20 rule here means is that this is in the state of Florida. And what it says is that if you're going to have a 55 plus community, only 20% of the households can have no one living in them that are at least 55 plus. So does that mean that there are exceptions to this rule? Yes. So by and large, in the state of Florida, 80% of the homes have to have someone in them that are 55 plus in order for this rule to, in order to be able to claim themselves as a 55 plus community. So what are the exceptions? I've never seen them sell. I'm not saying they don't, but I've never seen somebody like in their 40s, let's say, who just doesn't have children. I've never seen them actually purchase in a 55 plus community and haven't been approved. What I have seen happen, I don't want to go into too many specifics because it's people's personal business, but I did see one in one community where a couple purchased a home in a 55 plus community. One person was 55 or older, the other person was not. And the person who was 55 or older passed away. So the other person, the widow, was fine staying in the home, but she didn't want to stay in that home anymore. She loved the community, had tons of friends, but what she wanted to do was sell that home and buy another home in the community, in the same community. Makes sense, but she wasn't able to do so because she's not over the age of 50. She's not, 55 or older. So what happened was the HOA board met and they granted her an exception. So unless in the meantime she's turned 55, she would be part of that 20%. So that's kind of in a nutshell how it works. But yes, the 80-20 rule is, in this context, means in the state of Florida, if a neighborhood is going to be 55 plus, then they have to have at least 80% of the residents, 80% of the homes have to have a resident who's 55 plus living in it. So last but not least, what are the disadvantages of living in a 55 plus community? Well, there's a couple. Number one, let's say something happens and my mother-in-law wants to take our kids for an extended period of time. Well, she can't, because I'm not sure what the specifics are in Del Webb. It hasn't been an issue in our family. But there's a certain time period that our kids are allowed to stay, and after that, they got to go. Other times you have people, the 55 plus communities in our area tend to have smaller yards. They tend to, the residents are kind of close together. Well, if you don't want to be that close to other people, and if you don't want to be involved in all these different clubs or all these different things, it's a huge expense that you're paying for. And why? You don't get anything out of it. If you're not going to go to the swimming pools, you're not going to go to the gym, you're not going to take advantage of the friendships and the opportunities that you have there to get out and meet people, then it may not be worth it for you to spend that money. So also too, in our area, not always, but oftentimes homes in the 55 plus communities are actually more expensive than the homes outside of it. For instance, I was working with a buyer a few weeks ago, and he was looking in Del Webb, Nocatee, which is the newest 55 plus community in Nocatee, and we were looking in Reflections, which is in the Seabrook area of Nocatee. Let's say he's over the age of 55, so he can go in either one he wants. But when he saw how much less house he got for the money, and it just didn't, he wasn't sure he was going to use all the stuff. So he ended up purchasing over in Reflections, which is of course an all ages community. So for him, it didn't make sense, but for other people, it might. It really just depends on you. So there you go. Those are the advantages, disadvantages, pros and cons, kind of what I feel like you need to know before purchasing a home in an active adult or 55 plus community. Did I leave anything out? Go ahead and throw a comment down below. Would love to hear it. Also, we have two different YouTube channels. We have this one, which has information, kind of like what you're used to seeing, what you're seeing now. And we have those organized into playlists. So if you want to see active adult, you want to see Nocatee, you want to see Silverleaf, whatever it is, Seven Pines, homes on 1 acre lots, we have all of these playlists that you can go check out. Our sister channel is strictly model home tours and homes that are available for sale tours. That's all it is. So we don't go into issues, pros and cons on that. We just talk a little bit about the community that we happen to be in, and then we show the home. And that's all we do on that one. So be sure to check that channel out too for the areas and the homes that you're interested in. Other than that, feel free to reach out to us directly. If you're looking for a smooth transition to Northeast Florida, my team and I would absolutely love. You can give us a call, shoot us a text, whatever works best for you. Thanks a lot. I do appreciate your time, and I look forward to meeting you in person. Have a great day.